Hello, welcome to this class. So in this short tutorial, I will show you how to implement OOP in Python. We have done something similar to this using using Java. So you can check out that course because I offer enough explanation for a basic OOP programmer. Okay. So just a short explanation to get us started. So object-oriented programming, also known as OOP, is an approach in software engineering where we design our system to have objects, okay? And this is especially useful because of reusability. We don't have to create classes all the time. We don't have to create new stuff all the time. So a scenario I always use to explain is maybe you are a car manufacturer. You will have different times you manufacture cars, different cars. So you don't need to start every car from scratch. You can just have a template where you have everything that a car should have, maybe tires, shape, everything, okay, that will be uniform to every kind of car you create now or in future, so that you create that as a template, and then for every new car you want to create, you just like start from the template and then improve upon with the differences. Say I want to create a Volvo, so I already have a template. What would have taken me the next 2 weeks to create up to that point, I just start from the template and then now say, okay, Volvo should, the side of it should now bend, maybe it should look like this, the engine should look like this. So those differences are what you now focus on when it comes to building a new class, a new car. So from that car scenario, you see that a class is what you have as a template first. So in object-oriented programming, we call a class as a blueprint for creating several objects from it. Okay, take a house example. In a in an estate, you find all the houses look alike because of the plan, because of the architecture drawn, so that every house should look like this. Okay, and it's unique when it looks like that. Okay, but then you may have some key differences inside each of those houses. Okay, so like a blueprint for an architect, okay, that is what a class is for a software engineer. So you create one class and you're able to manufacture billions of objects from that class, which inherit most of the attributes of um, of that template, original template. So that's what we will consider. Object-oriented programming considers classes, then considers objects created from those classes, then considers attributes, that's properties of a class, and then considers methods, what you call functions outside of a class. Technically, it's called methods inside of a class. So let's take a look of how to look at how to implement this with Python. Is quite easy, easier than, I mean, not that complicated like by that of Java, but let's see how it goes. So we have, I want to create this, so I can just call it OOP OOP demo. Do we have it somewhere? So okay, OOP demo 1.py. So we have it now. So if we want to run this file, we just type py OOP demo.py. So you can as well type here Python. Okay, it's the same thing. So but I go for a shorter name. So okay, I think demo1. So demo1.py. So the file is no issue, no errors. So let's put something in the file. So let's just print hello and then see what it does. Demo.py. So hello. All right, so OOP demo one, so it prints hello, and that's easy enough. So that file is working. You can also click here, which is shorter, and then we have the same thing. So it prints hello. So whichever we're using is it points to the same thing. Now let's briefly look at how a function looks like. Say hello. So this is outside of a class, therefore it's called a function, not a method. Okay, so maybe I'm just printing hello world. Let me leave the other one. So I'm just printing hello world, and this should print hello world. Okay, so this is a function, line 1 and 2. So this is a function. We use this for indentation to make sure that we understand that it's inside, is within this function, and is contained there. So Python makes very good use of indentation. As a matter of fact, it takes it like a real family problem. So you have to indent, otherwise it doesn't understand you. So with functions, all you need to do, you would call the function for it to work. So say hello, and then notice two things. A function starts with lowercase, right? Apart from the fact that it starts with this keyword def, which stands for define. Okay, so it starts with a lowercase, not uppercase, but you can make it uppercase. You can add underscore between it, but no spaces. This is not a function. That's not good. So, and the function has this, even if it's empty. Okay, you should have that for functions. Okay, yeah. So understand that, and then over here, what we are doing, we are calling the function. Okay, so here we are creating the function. Okay, so this looks good. So calling the function now, it works. Okay, now there are times you want to have functions with parameters. Okay, sorry, I'm just taking you a bit backward. I just want to iron out some things so that our OOP class will be really easy for us to understand. So we have this say hello. What if we wanted to say hello to someone? Okay, so over here um we might just have someone here. Okay, a name of a person, and then we want a way of concatenating. You can concatenate like this with someone, right? This works. And then, which means over here now we have to apply, we have to give a name to that someone. Okay, so hello John Doe would work, right? Or if you are not using that plus concatenation, you can use this other one, format with F here, and then for every variable you have, you put it here. Okay, this is still working well. So we still have hello John Doe. Okay, so so if you have a function with parameter, you should call that function with a parameter included. Okay, Brian. Okay, so hello Brian. Okay, so you have to call it with a function with a parameter included. So this is a parameter inside the bracket. Okay, kind argument. Okay, you can call it argument and argument, and then you have to call it with that. If you don't, you have an error where you can see one missing positional argument, someone. So you have to provide it over here. So that being said, I want to talk about something really important, and it's good that you have understanding of calling functions with parameters. Now, one of my students asked a very important question, and I had to explain it to him. Why do we need constructors? Okay, some textbook definition will tell you, oh, constructors come with a class, define class attributes, and blah blah blah. But practically you might still run into issues. Why? Of course we really need constructors. Why didn't we create it as methods? Why didn't we just, I mean, go ahead and do other things? you know, and forget about constructors. So I'm here to talk about constructors, and talking about it is easier to talk about it in relation to uh, having parameters within the function you are creating. Okay, so let me push this down, and probably let me just comment this. Okay, so they are commented. Now, with class, if we are creating a simple class like this, let me just call it class without constructor. Okay, so note, okay, let me just pass here. So pass is a keyword in Python that you just place as a placeholder if you are not ready to use that function or that class per se at that time. So you just click pass so that you are safe. Even if you run this code, there are no issues at all. Okay, but without pass, I mean, there would have been an issue because you've seen the error already. So we just playing safe by adding that pass while I talk about what I want to talk about. So with this, we can just create a method inside of this class, and then notice something with class. With method, we define methods with lowercase. We start a method with a lowercase, okay, and then we have a bracket. We have brackets after the name, whereas with classes we started with capital letter, and then there are no brackets here. There are no brackets there with classes, right? So you have to note that, and this is wrong. Okay, so you have to note that as well while defining your classes. Now with this class, we want to have a method saying, oh, say goodbye, or um just anything. All right, so let's just create that method now. So def, okay, wave 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 at someone. Okay, so we have this now. Okay, notice that this colon is actually in other programming languages you would have had something like this. So the way we indent inside a block for other programming languages and begin to print here, for example, that's the way Python expects you. If you are using this, you have to indent. So that's the indentation. That's what it means. So if you had this, you would have indented. So why not indent for Python when you have this? So you have to work with indentation properly with Python, otherwise you have issues. So you use tab, your tab key on the top left on your keyboard to indent. Okay, you indent with a tab, you indent with a tab, and if you go way too forward, you can hold down your shift with a tab, with tabs to go back, right? So let's just say we are printing I am waving at you. Okay, so this is, I mean, this is easy, this is fine. Okay, but nothing will print out. We've created a class, quite all right. I keep using this comment. That comment is from another language. Sorry about that. So, creating a class. All right. So we've created a class, and then uh, create a method inside the class. Okay. So outside the class, it would be called function like this. It would be called function. Okay, whereas inside is technically called a method. So note those differences. So we have a class, we have a method, but we are not using it. So it's just like you have a low battery, but there is electricity, there is light, there are sockets in your room, but you are not just charging it. So I mean, you are not using the light, but there is light. Okay, so this is what it means. There's nothing wrong with the light. We have the class, we have the method, but we are not using it. So when we are ready to use it is when we begin to call the function. We call the class. Calling the class is not that's like calling as in with this we did with functions. We are not doing this, just like that. Okay, this is how we call functions. So this is empty. This is how we called functions. But calling class now has to do with you creating an object by creating an object of the class. So once you can create an object of the class, or by instantiating the class, sometimes they say instantiating. So once you can create object of the class, okay, you are able to use it. So how do you do it? So you can, it's just like a variable, it can be any name, lowercase. So we can just say object is assigned the value of this, okay, and then from this object, remember what I talked about objects. So this is the template for creating all kinds of cars, for example, and this is one specific car you want to create. So you create an object to be able to use that object and create a class from it. So we now have obj dot, you are able to see all your functions here. So remember, functions end with this. Another thing worthy of mention is notice line 2. Notice at line 2 we declare this class without opening these brackets, right? Like I advise, you don't have to do that. But then while calling it, it is proper to open these brackets. Okay, they are empty anyways for now. So once we do this, object dot, we now use this object dot wave at someone, we are able to see it. So if we run this file now, so okay, wave at someone takes object or wave at someone takes one. Positioner for one was 0. Positioner. Okay, why are we having that error? Okay, sorry about that. So in any case, we would need that these brackets if we have positional arguments. Okay, so sorry about that. So that's empty. We have objects class with constructor, and then we are able to use our objects dot wave at someone, and it prints for us without any issues. Okay, all right. So that is the same thing we implemented when we did this. This is the same thing we implemented when we created this. Let me just go down a bit. Without this, when we did this, hello someone, perhaps hello world, and then we said hello. This is the same thing with functions. So if I print, you should see I am waving at you, which is from here, and then hello world, which is from here. Now this is a function without any parameters, right? And this is a class without any parameters. Now that parameter you understood here, take it as constructor here. Now you won't have parameters directly here, but you can have parameters like we did here. We can have someone here, or name. Let's just use name, and then we say my name is, okay. So let me use this other one. So you can say my name is name, okay, and then remember to add your f here. And then while calling, you have to provide a name, okay. So okay, all right. So so this is the way you actually have a parameter, an argument for methods, which I mean is fine. My name is physics, but you cannot do this directly with constructors like name here, okay, and trying to call it, you can already see the error. So so let's, so name is not defined, so it's not proper to do it here, right? So we remove that, and then we remove this. Okay, so this works fine. Remember, we don't need this since we have no arguments in the constructor. So this works fine. So for you to be able to have a class with parameters, you need a constructor. I repeat myself. For you to be able to work with classes as if they have parameters, you actually need a constructor. A constructor is a kind of method just like this. It's a special kind of method that comes with default elements, attributes, default definitions for a class. Okay, so let's look at how a constructor comes with. So in other languages like Java, we would have had a constructor with exactly the same name as this and maybe just add public void something. Okay, that has to be the same name as this. But with Python, you don't need that. So with Python, you need a constructor that is just a function, like I said, and then it has init. This is like underscore, another underscore, two underscores, right? So init, and then two underscores after that. Okay, and then you open this and remember to come here and pass since we are not ready to put anything. Now, this is the structure of a constructor, and then you place a constructor on top of every other method within the class. Okay, so it's not nice, it's not technically correct to have this and then somewhere below or somewhere at the center we have constructor. Okay, so it's proper to put it on top. It's a nice design. So we have this constructor, and then with Python it always references itself as in the class. Okay, so you should have that self. Okay, and with constructor also you can, let's just print something. So we have print, and then let's just, my name is, so let me just remove this, we don't need this again for now. So let me comment this out. So my name is, I can use this other one, name. Okay, okay, let me just leave it for now, making it simple. My name is Uwem Akpabot. All right, so if we have that constructor as simple as it is, so how then do we call that constructor here? Because we have a constructor for a class. If we run this, I am waving at you, we have the constructor, but we have practically not used that constructor yet. Okay, so we have not used that constructor yet. So what if we were to do this? um Let me just add something here. Daniel. Okay, all right, so it takes one positional argument which was okay, the self, but now yeah, giving two because I've added another one here, so that is not right. So with constructors we are able to pass values the way we would have done with classes here, name. Okay, so what we do is, instead of adding a name here, right, so what we do is we instead have a name. Okay, so we instead have a name here, for example, and then we are able to pass that name, maybe F, and then with name. Okay, okay, so we can pass it here. Okay, all right, so this is one easy way of doing it. Let's just see what we'll print out. Now it will expect, we will have an error expecting, yeah, missing positional argument, so we need to supply it here. So now I can say okay, okay, so wave at someone, text 0 but blah 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 blah. Yes, now that we have constructor, we expect self for all our methods. So that was the issue. So my name is Warren Buffett, I am waving at you. Okay, so this comes from the class directly. okay, the parameters passed to the class through the constructor, and this is what we wanted to achieve. Okay, so another way we could have done this, from other languages, you often see something like surname. Let me just have surname, and then you often see maybe prophet. Let me use this how do you call female, first female programmer, okay, was how did they call her? Ada Lovelace. Okay, so we could have done this, having attributes outside of the constructor, and then here we now, maybe we remove this name and then now called this. Okay, so now we would need self in order to be able to access this. Okay, first female programmer, and then if we run this again, text for 2 we give. Okay, so we don't need this now because we already have it already here. So my name is Ada Lovelace. So it's now picking from this attribute definition outside of, in the class, but outside of the constructor. This is the constructor. Let me just comment that. Okay, so we have this attribute outside of it, so it's picking from here because of this self. Without this self, yeah, of course you've seen the error. So it's picking from it. So we could have done this, okay, and that would look nice, but I mean, in some ways we can, let me get that, let me cut that and instead have it here. Okay, so we can have another way we can do this is to have what we had before, maybe name, okay, and then call the name here. Okay, and then over here what we do is we have name, and of course finally we have self.name to pick it from there. Okay, so self.name is assigned the value of this, and then let's see that missing one name. Okay, now we need it here. So wait a minute. Okay, so this works now. It's the same way we put it outside of this constructor, and we were able to use self to access it here. Now we have it here using the self.name, which is referencing this, and then we have Ada Lovelace here, and then we are able to print it out. Okay, all right. So another way we could have done it without hard coding it would have been self.name is assigned the value of name. That way we would be able to have name here. So it's now referencing anything you supply here as name. Therefore, it will ask for positional arguments, of course. So over here, you are free to now, you can now add Brian Tracy. Okay. So my name is Brian Tracy, and I'm waving at you. So this looks good, this looks beautiful, and I hope you learned a lot from this. So this is how object-oriented programming looks, especially with Python. It's a lot cleaner and easier to work with. Just before I leave, I can just mention that you can also, you can have two different classes, two different pages doing the same thing. So if I picked those things out, okay, nothing is appearing. So nothing, we've picked it out. So we can have a separate page. Let me just say main, for example, main class dot py, and then this main class dot py does not understand what class without constructor means because it's not within this class. This is what the achievement you mostly achieve if you are using a programming language like Java. So what we do is with Python, you don't need your public static void main and all those methods to make sure they execute from here. They could have well executed from here. So what you do with Python is just to import from where? From OOP underscore demo1. Okay, import what class? So what class are you importing? You're actually importing this class. So once you import that class, you're able to use it without issues. So now if I run this one, it's empty, okay, because it does not have the executing class running it, okay. So but over here, if I instead run this one, if I say main py main cls dot py, yeah, it runs as if they were inside the same page. So this is a way you can manage working with different pages, because as you work, your codes grow. Imagine we just talked for about 30 minutes and we are having 33 lines of code. So what if we worked for 1 week on a project, for 1 month, for 1 year, in groups, in teams? So you don't have to put everything in one class, in one page. So you can separate concerns, and this really works effectively. All you need to do is to import the class from the other class, okay, and you can have several imports as well. So thank you very much for subscribing, and dear students, just feel free, watch, pause, rewind, and understand every explanation I've given. One thing about me, Uemakpabo, is I spend time to explain it. I explain it in such a way that if someone wakes you up, you understand it through your bloodstream. So not just being able to, quote what people are doing and just implement. No, you have to understand why and how you do it effectively. So go through the explanation, the verbal, and how we have changed a lot of things and what we're able to achieve and the mistakes we made, and learn from everything. Thank you very much. See you in our next class. Thank you. Bye.